The interpretation of narratives is to some extent subjective, because everyone can experience art differently. At the same time, using literary analysis, we can still explain the most reasonable meanings that the artist meant to convey or that the audience is likely to understand. To understand themes of any work of art, however, spoilers are involved. Heavy spoilers. So consider this your spoiler warning. Ghost of Tsushima, the action-adventure game by Sucker Punch Productions, contains many themes related to honor and warfare. In its DLC, Jin Sakai travels to Iki Island to fight the Eagle Tribe, a specific group of Mongols using hallucinogenic medicine to torture and recruit Japanese to their cause. To defeat the Eagle, Jin must confront the rebels of Iki and his father's legacy in order to save Tsushima. In this video, we're going to answer the question, how does Jin Sakai, the Ghost of Tsushima, demonstrate honor to the criminals of Iki Island? The first theme of the Iki Island DLC has to do with Jin leading criminals to defend against the Mongol invasion. Since Jin traveled to Iki Island alone, with no samurai from the Jito, he has no army or reinforcements to help him. Instead, he must recruit local raiders who hate his clan by hiding his identity as Lord Sakai and donning the persona of Jin from Yarikawa in order to gain the trust of the rebels of Iki and lead a ragtag band of criminals to fight for their home. As Jin from Yarikawa, Jin works with Tenzo and his leader Fune in order to defeat the Eagle Tribe. Jin from Yarikawa leads Tenzo's group against the Mongol cannoneers and warship, helping the raiders gain control of the sea. Jin leads the raiders on an attack against Fort Sakai, helping them to free some of their fellow raiders that were captured by the Mongols and to gain control of the fort. When the Mongols counterattack, Jin leads them in planning an ambush at Kitafure village, where his father once massacred many of the rebels. In the Bible, David also led a band of criminals to defend Israel against the Philistines. David departed from there and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And when his brothers and all his father's house heard it, they went down there to him. And everyone who is in distress, and everyone who is in debt, and everyone who is bitter in soul gathered to him. And he became commander over them. And there were with him about 400 men. Now they told David, "Behold, the Philistines are fighting against Keilah and are robbing the threshing floors." Therefore David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go and attack these Philistines?" And the Lord said to David, "Go and attack the Philistines and save Keilah." But David's men said to him, "Behold, we are afraid here in Judah. How much more then if we go to Keilah against the armies of the Philistines?" Then David inquired of the Lord again, and the Lord answered him, "Arise, go down to Keilah, for I will give the Philistines into your hand." And David and his men went to Keilah and fought with the Philistines and brought away their livestock and struck them with a great blow. So David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. 1 Samuel chapter 22 verses 1 and 2 and 1 Samuel chapter 23 verses 1 to 5. Like David, Jin is able to lead what is essentially a group of bandits to victory against a foreign invasion, something that is already difficult without the added complexity of his father's tumultuous legacy, which is connected to our second theme. Our second theme in today's video on the themes of Iki Island has to do with the brutality of both rebels and the reactionary crackdown. Through many flashbacks, we see that although Kazumasa Sakai, Jin's father, is a samurai lord with legitimate authority to suppress the rebellion against Tsushima's Jito, Lord Shimura, that this is done in a ruthless fashion.
We butchered them, all the men in the village.
The samurai ran hot, yes, but these fools attacked us.
Over and over, we see that Kazumasa Sakai felt no mercy for the peasants of Iki and despised the island despite being the lord in charge of managing the land. As more is revealed, we see that the people of Iki were also not innocent, first in their rebellion against the Jito, but also in the manner with which they fought the rebellion. The raiders indeed acted like criminals, and it is understandable that the Jito would send a force to suppress them, although Kazumasa prosecuted the samurai invasion of Iki in an unworthy manner. This theme of brutal rebellion and suppression is seen in the Bible as well during the division of the kingdom of Rehoboam. And when all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, "What portion do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Look now to your own house, David." So Israel went to their tents. But Rehoboam reigned over the people of Israel who lived in the cities of Judah. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was taskmaster over the forced labor, and all Israel stoned him to death with stones. And King Rehoboam hurried to mount his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. And when all Israel heard that Jeroboam had returned, they sent and called him to the assembly and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David but the tribe of Judah only. When King Rehoboam came to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to restore the kingdom to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of God came to Shemaiah the man of God. Say to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the rest of the people, thus says the Lord, you shall not go up or fight against your relatives, the people of Israel. Every man return to his home, for this thing is from me. So they listened to the word of the Lord and went home again, according to the word of the Lord. 1 Kings chapter 12, verses 16 to 24. The civil war of Israel and Judah was only stopped through the direct intervention of God. Otherwise, the brutality of rebellion and its suppression may have ended up like that of Iki Island as well. The way that Kazumasa Sakai led the suppression of Iki is very different than what Jin wanted to do, which is related to our third theme. Our third theme for Iki Island is that of the sins of the father and the son, not the same. This relates to both how Kazumasa and Jin do not act the same, as well as how they in the end are not treated the same. In some ways, Jin is like Lord Shimura and his father in that they, as samurai lords, are willing to serve those who hate them. However, where they differ is in their mercy. Jin was heavily influenced by the compassion of his mother, and therefore felt compassion for the people of Iki. He even considered staying on Iki to rule and manage Iki better than his father. When Jin is forced to relive his past through psychedelic medicine given to him by the eagle, he chooses not to avenge his father's death and continue the cycle of brutality between raider rebels and samurai oppressors.
I will never be like you. The way you lived was not my choice.
In turn, Tenzo and many of the raiders cannot forgive Kazumasa Sakai, but they can forgive Jin and treat Jin differently than his father. In the Bible, God also teaches that people should not be judged for the sins of their parents. Now suppose this man fathers a son who sees all the sins that his father has done. He sees and does not do likewise. He does not eat upon the mountains or lift up his eyes to the idols of the house of Israel, does not defile his neighbor's wife, does not oppress anyone, exacts no pledge, commits no robbery, but gives his bread to the hungry and covers the naked with a garment, withholds his hand from iniquity, takes no interest or profit, obeys my rules and walks in my statutes. He shall not die for his father's iniquity. He shall surely live. As for his father, because he practiced extortion, robbed his brother, and did what was not good among his people, behold, he shall die for his iniquity. Yet you say, why should not the son suffer for the iniquity of the father? When the son has done what is just and right, and has been careful to observe all my statutes, he shall surely live. The soul who sins shall die. The son shall not suffer for the iniquity of the father, nor the father suffer for the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon himself, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon himself. Ezekiel chapter 18, verses 14 to 20. Like the Bible, though the raiders hate Clan Sakai, they eventually learn to treat Jin as an individual and not hate him, but work with him to defend their island. In fact, it can be said that they are able to forgive his contributions to the oppression, which is our final theme of today's video. The last theme for today's video on Iki Island is that of forgiveness instead of vengeance, of talking through grievances, even those with blood guilt on both sides. This idea of forgiveness and love triumphing over hate is shown throughout the narrative. Because Jin helps the raiders, Tenzo is able to keep Jin's secret of being Jin Sakai when he pretends to be Jin from Yarikawa. In fact, this extends to even forgiving Jin for his father's crimes against the people of Iki. In turn, Jin learns to forgive Tenzo for what was done to his father's men, and especially for killing his father, which he eventually figures out was Tenzo. Most of all, instead of torturing himself with the guilt for not saving his father, Jin learns to forgive himself, understanding that he was a child, but also that perhaps his father did not deserve to be saved from the rebels. Finally, Jin learns to forgive his father for not being a good father for him personally and for tarnishing the Sakai name with his dishonorable brutality, instead of hating the memory of his father like he did before. In the Bible, God teaches the Israelites to love and forgive instead of continue cycles of hatred. You shall not hate your brother in your heart, but you shall reason frankly with your neighbor, lest you incur sin because of him. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the sons of your own people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Leviticus chapter 19 verses 17 and 18. Like God commands, Jin is able to let go of his hatred towards his father's killers, himself, and his father.
For years I blamed myself for his death, and for choosing to live. So I forgave myself, and him.
Overcoming inner darkness and finding resolution for his father's brutal legacy. The Iki Island DLC for Ghost of Tsushima was a fairly self-contained adventure with a strong narrative that really develops both Jin Sakai and his father Kazumasa. The themes of leading criminals, brutality and rebellions, fathers and sons, and love and forgiveness are generally well developed within the time frame of the DLC. Overall, I did enjoy the DLC and its narrative. That's all I have for you in this video. Bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If this video blessed you in some way, please consider watching some of my other videos, subscribing, or sharing with me some of your thoughts in the comments below.